Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Talk From The Tameside. Here's what's coming up on today's show. An opening day to forget, perhaps. Curzon Ashton falling to a defeat against newcomers Banbury United. We go around the league and tell you what's been going on in the National League North. And we look ahead as we take our first road trip of the season away to fellow newcomers Buxton. But first things first, let's keep bringing you up to speed on what's happened throughout the National League North last Saturday. AFC Fylde winning 2-1 against Kettering Town. Telford, who interestingly enough were without Harry Flowers on their opening day, him serving his red card suspension that Curzon fans might remember he picked up in the end of the Gateshead away trip last season. They won 1-0 against Chorley. Alfreton Town and Chester fought to a 2-2 draw. Blythe Spartans, they fell 1-0 to Kidderminster, who Curzon Ashton travelled to on Tuesday night. Boston and Southport played out a game with 8 goals in it. Southport coming away with the 3 points, winning 5-3. Brackley Town winning 2-0 against Scarborough Athletic. Kings Lynn, they've started their journey back to the National League on a high note. They took 3 points away from Bradford. Darlington won 3-1 at home to Gloucester City. Hereford and Spennymoor Town couldn't find a winner despite having 6 goals in that match. Leamington beat Farsley Celtic 4-0 and Peterborough Sports and Buxton played a 1-1 draw. Well, to help me break down everything that happened in the National League North and a little closer to home with Curzon Ashton, we have our friend, the fellow resident Twitter admin for Curzon Ashton, Toby Coxon. Toby, how you doing, mate? I hear you're soaking up the rays over there.
Yeah, I've just come away for the week, just by the coast, just loving life, mate, loving life.
That's what we love to see. Right, well, we'll start with, I suppose, how can you not look at those run of fixtures and results on opening day and not talk about Boston and Southport? 8 goals in that game, and there was a player that I heard that you wanted to have a little bit of a talk about, Jordan Archer.
Yeah, so the first 3 goals of that game were scored by Jordan Archer. I mean, I think it was something like 10, 12-minute hat-trick. It's absolutely unreal. I mean, I remember him from when Curzon obviously played them last season. He's a massive threat. He's just such a great technical player, and he's definitely going to be up there in the goal scoring this season. Well, I mean, he's already top of the charts for goal scoring clearly already this season. I think the result came as quite a bit of a shock personally, because you look at Southport, you look at Boston, really they're both sort of teams that are striving for playoffs. They both were up there last season. Boston especially have been up there for the past couple of years. They've got a very good setup going on there. They've got a lot of money. So when you kind of see the goals coming in, 1-0 down, 2-0 down, 3-0 down, you're like thinking, oh, hang on, what's going on here? It was much of a shock. I mean, obviously they pulled it back to a more respectable scoreline, but it's still a shock result of the weekend, I've got to admit.
Definitely, and I think it's interesting you say there about these two teams being tipped to be fighting at the top end of the table, and they're meeting up on opening day and really showing each other what they're made of as well. And then you speak about other teams that you'd have to say that are trying to fight for promotion this season. AFC Fylde, they got off to a good start. I just wanted to touch on Kings Lynn Town actually as well, who were relegated last season from the National League. They're trying to make their way back up this season. They only managed to win 1-0 on opening day, and now obviously it's opening day, we can all overreact and speak in hyperbole, but do you reckon in a game that they were probably tipped to fire a few past against Bradford Park Avenue, is that warning signs early on for this team?
Yeah, I mean, Bradford are always one of them teams that are sort of flirting with relegation a little bit, but never really in any threat. They're sort of that sort of 17th, 18th sort of place every single year, kind of staying in the league, but never really kicking on to any heights. Obviously, it was away, and one thing Bradford have is it's an artificial pitch. So maybe the Kings Lynn players just weren't used to playing on the surface. It could be a number of reasons. It could just be first day nerves. But personally, I wouldn't read into it too much. I think it's first day. There's been some interesting results throughout the league. But yeah, they got the 3 points, and that's really all their manager and their fans will be bothered with.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, speaking about positions on the table, let's bring up the National League North table for you now at home. On an opening day where 37 goals were scored, and it sees the opening day end Farsley Celtic ending the day in somewhere they're probably quite familiar with, in the bottom section of the table, dead last. Scarborough Athletic down there in 23rd. Interesting enough, Curzon, even with their 2-1 loss, they sit at 16th currently, and then just falling shy of the top 12. In the top half of the table, Buxton and Chester. Head up to the top half of the table, and I think that those fans that did travel up from Oxfordshire would never have thought that they would have finished opening day in 6th place, but there they sit. The rest of the top being rounded out: AFC Fylde, Brackleytown, Darlington, Southport, and currently top of the league are Leamington. Well, let's relive a little bit closer to home and relive some of the action and go into some of it on detail at the opening day fixture at the Tameside Stadium. Curzon Ashton falling to a hard-fought loss 2-1 at home thanks to a 90th minute penalty scored by Giorgio Rassolo, and we'll get to the penalty decisions in a minute, Toby. But first off, I just wanted to get your thoughts and your opinion on what was a very, very slow start for Curzon Ashton. It seemed like that, I don't know, that they missed the starting gun. What did you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head there. I think especially the first half was very not what you would expect from this Curzon side, with some of the players they've got, some of the quality they've got, and really what they've shown in parts in pre-season. I mean, literally a week before, same ground, we played Halifax, who, as you know, have been flirting with promotion into the Football League in recent times. And the first half, if you compare the first half against Halifax and the first half against Banbury, it's completely polar opposites. Halifax, we looked up for it, we were, moving the ball fast, playing our game really. Whereas Banbury, we just didn't look up for it. Didn't really seem to know what we were doing in terms of progressing the ball forwards. We've gone from kind of moving through the lines and playing our football really to a lot of the time they were getting at the back and just looking long and looking for either the wingers or George Waring up top, and it just wasn't working. I think when Pears moved through the middle, I think we did see a shift. I think that kind of, for whatever reason, that was a kind of kick up the backside that the players needed, and we started. Obviously, that's when we got the equaliser through Pears, and we seemed to start to keep the ball on the ground a little bit more, which I think is where our strengths are. When you've got players like DeMaio, Mann, Walker, who all look brilliant on the ball. I mean, DeMaio especially, his close control of the ball is absolutely unreal, and he showed it again this weekend, to be honest. But when you've got players like that in midfield and you just get in it and you just trying to hit the target man, it's not the way that I don't think.
Yeah, definitely. Well, one player that was certainly switched on from the opening minutes was the goalkeeper, Chris Renshaw. Just want to bring up on your screens now for you at home the double save that Chris pulled off. And I mean, you heard it as well in the highlights. I think when I was watching the highlights back yesterday, I heard either yourself or Reese cry out, "What a save." It was just incredible work from Renshaw, but questions have to be asked at the defence. I mean, when you play the clip back and when you have a look at the defensive marking, to be able to first off allow Rassolo to get that much space and that much drive as he did, and then the player on the follow-up to stand there completely unmarked, it's scary when you think about it, really. Yeah,
I mean, I think it's a defence which is still learning each other out. I mean, you've got Devon Matthews, who's never played this level before. He's a really class act, but there's going to be some adapting. It's the highest level he's ever played at, so he'll need some time to sort of get used to the differences between where he used to play at Mossley in the division below. And then, obviously, with Hampson not being able to make the game, Hayhurst playing left back it's a position he can play, but personally, from what I've seen of him, I think his strengths are further up the field. So it's not a defence that I think the defence will be able to improve throughout the season as they kind of get used to each other more, used to the players in front of them. It's the same sort of themes that run throughout the whole team, really, is when you bring in so many new players, it's always going to take them time to be able to learn and gel as a team, get that chemistry, know kind of that sixth sense where you know roughly where someone's going to be and what run someone's going to make, that all the big successful teams have.
Yeah, interesting. And I like how you mentioned about the Altrincham duo, of course, who weren't available for the opening day fixture, but according to Adam Lakeland in his post-match interview, are set to return and make their debuts away against Buxton. They are going to be some inclusions that we are certainly hoping are going to transform this team. You can't as well mention yesterday's game without speaking about the penalties. I just want to play for everybody at home now the clip of the penalty shout that was denied for Curzon Ashton in the first half. Appears going down, being taken down by the goalkeeper. Now you've seen it from behind. Here is the image, thanks to Ollie Biddle, the club photographer, from the front. Picture tells 1,000 stories, doesn't it?
Yeah. I think there's no doubt in the fact that there's very clear contact made. I think speaking to Adam after the game, what the referee said to him was he didn't believe that Pearce had control of the ball, so it's not a penalty because the keeper's not fouling him because the ball's already gone, basically. Which you can see his reasoning. But I mean, with your blue tinted glasses on, you've got to look at it, and for me, it is a penalty personally.
I look at that penalty. I shouted when I was on commentary. For those who did tune in to Curzon Live on Saturday afternoon, first and foremost, a big thank you to everybody that did tune in from Curzon Ashton and Banbury alike. It was a really, really great atmosphere and a really, really fantastic day for coverage. But my first reaction was the goalkeeper is a very, very lucky man. And when you put that picture side by side with, say, the picture from the London Stadium on Sunday afternoon and the penalty that was given to Erling Haaland against Alphonse Areola, to me, and this is me not even saying it from a biased standpoint, but also from a standpoint of having gone through referee qualifications and am an accredited referee, they are very, very picture-in-picture.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only point you can make to argue with that is the referee hasn't been able to see these photos. Maybe, obviously, there's no VAR at this level. I mean, if that had been used, then obviously he might have gone and overturned it. But there's no way of knowing that. I think the decision was made, and you can't blame results on decisions of referees. We obviously a penalty first half going in 1-0 up changes the game. I mean, Adam said it in the interview, but we can't let a dubious decision for the referee paper over the cracks of some of the other sort of downfalls of Saturday.
Certainly, and speaking of penalties that were or were not given, the penalty that ended up being the game decider, when it happened in real time, from the angle and from the position that I had up in the commentary position, it was very, very difficult to see quite why the penalty had been given and for what reason, but I'll now play the clip that was taken from the other angle, from the highlights package that was put together on the Nash TV, and you can pretty clearly see that the contact has been made, a hooking around of the right leg, and it's a painful way to have to lose your first game, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it was a timing as well, because since we'd equalised, you could kind of feel there was going to be another goal coming. And by the looks of the play, it was looking like it was going to be us. It looked like we were going to be able to turn it around. But Yeah, it's a clear penalty, and it was taken very well as well. The lad who scored the penalty. It would have been a big pressure moment for him because obviously Banbury have never been at this level. This is the highest they've been, right in front of their own supporters, last minute of the game to win their first ever National League North game. But credit to him, he finished it well past Renshaw. There's nothing the keeper could have done, and it was heartbreaking. But yeah, we can have no complaints.
Yeah, and I think it goes without saying as well. I said it when the goal went in and when full time had blown, that all credit to Banbury for the players that turned up, the coaching staff and the fans and support that was at the Tameside Stadium. Full credit to how they played and came out. They had a plan. They attacked the game from minute one, which is a very difficult thing to do for a team that's never been up this high in the English football pyramid before. So full credit to them on the balance of play. Certainly from the first half alone, you have to say that they deserve the 3 points, and we certainly wish them well throughout the rest of the season. Looking ahead then to next Saturday, this Saturday coming, 3 o'clock, of course, on the dot. We will be live from Curzon Live from 2:45. The link to the Twitch channel, the official Curzon Live Twitch account, will be in the description of this episode. Travelling away to Buxton, who drew 1-1 with fellow side, newly promoted side, Peterborough Sports. It was a very interesting game. I watched the highlights back yesterday of the game, and it found me interesting that how much they were caught on the counter across the game. I'm not sure if have you had a chance to have a look at the highlights yourself, Toby?
I personally haven't. No. One thing I would say is when I was doing my research for the Banbury game, Banbury and Peterborough Sports were in the same level. Banbury won the league by 23 points. So Peterborough Sport were the one who finished second, but clearly obviously people could bring in new players, but there was a clear gulf between Peterborough Sports and Banbury of 23 points last season.
And I think that shows as well in not only in the results but also in the play that was able to be seen by us. There was a red card that was, I believe, in the first half of that game, and Buxton weren't able to finish off and clean up their dinner. And in fact, Buxton were the ones that went behind first. So it certainly looks like that this is going to be a game that could be a nice bounce back for Adam Lakeland, and especially with the team looking set to be rejuvenated by the debuting of the brand new Altrincham duo.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question the quality of the two lads who are coming in. I mean, they've been plying their trade last few years in the league above, and that quality showed in pre-season. I mean, Hancock, especially for me personally, I mean, you can tell that he's got that ability, just the way he moves the football, the way that maybe when he's not been as sharp because it's pre-season, you can still kind of tell he's got that ability, and he's going to be a very, very key player in this Curzon National side. And the same with Hampson as well. I mean, he'll just show up that left side of the defence. Like I say, we had some defensive frailties, you would say, against Banbury. He's a very tall lad as well, so helps with both defending and attacking set pieces. And yeah, I mean, one lad who I'd be on the lookout for Buxton would be Curzon. Someone Curzon will know very well in Jack Mackay, who obviously left us sort of midway through last season to go to York. Clearly didn't work out there. Now he's at Buxton, so he'll be a player that the Curzon faithful will know very well.
That'll be an interesting restart and a reunion then. I like how you said it. It's interesting how you're saying about the inclusion of these wider players. We saw on Saturday the fantastic interplay on the right-hand side in the first half between Hall, Richards, Mann, De Maio. These names that we all certainly, some that have become household names and some that look to become household names. It does still look like that there is a very, very bright season ahead for Curzon Ashton, despite a little bit of a trip at the first hurdle, perhaps.
Definitely. I mean, there's no doubt in the players' quality all over the pitch. I mean, starting from Renshaw and goal. I mean, you sort of say he's on Saturday. He's unreal. All the way up up through the outfield players. There's quality all over the pitch, and there's a reason why Adam will have brought in each and every one of the signings he has. He's not just going out there and getting players that he doesn't think will improve the squad. I mean, even young Benito Lowe, I thought when he came on, he was absolutely outstanding. Brilliant little player. Well, I say little, he's a rather tall lad. But yeah, I think there's no doubt in the quality in the team. And I don't think we'll be struggling this season, personally.
No, it certainly looks like that, like you say, with the players that are showing their bright sparks. It just wasn't the day for Curzon Ashton at home on opening day. Final question I'll pose to you then, Toby, if you're feeling a bit brave. Could we get a prediction perhaps for this Saturday?
Oh, I think travelling away, obviously it's a newly promoted team. I believe, you could correct me if I'm wrong, but this will be their first home game.
Yes, it will.
Yes, so obviously they'll have the fans behind them. They've got a lot of money behind them as well, Buxton. But I've got to stay confident. Personally, I think it'll be a hard fought, but I think we'll win 2-1.
Okay, so you think that there won't be the clean sheet, but you think the Nash will return to the Tameside with all 3 points. I'm going to go similar with the 2, but I do think that Curzon are going to pick up the clean sheet for me. I'm thinking that a nice little brace from Tom Pearce, similar to earlier in pre-season, is going to be the difference maker for Curzon Ashton on Saturday. And of course, for those of you who will not be able to make it down to Buxton on Saturday afternoon, we will be broadcasting that game live and exclusive on Twitch. Well, that's going to do it for another episode of Talk From The Tameside. Just a little note for the episode that will be coming out next week. Of course, there is a double game week that is coming up. After Saturday's Buxton game, we travel away to Kidderminster on Tuesday night. That game will not be covered in next week's Talk From The Tameside. It'll be the episode after, where we will talk about Kidderminster and the following Saturday's game. But with all that said and done and out of the way, Toby, thank you so much for joining me once again.
It's been a pleasure, mate.
And for those Nash fans that are tuning in, thank you so much for sticking with us. We hope to see you all whenever we see you next time, either here in Twitch or at the Tameside Stadium. But until then, up the Nash.